Last time on Redbeard's Overthunk Junk.
Which works. Holy crap, I even got attacked.
Currently on Redbeard's Overthunk Junk.
Why? Like, just why? Oh, hey guys. So anyway, we were doing a little research there at the end of the last video. I don't know if you noticed or not, but we got to fire up. And I've been curious which lines is supply to the transmission, which one's return. Well, we know now because it blew this earplug halfway across the shop. So I'm going to put that back in there to keep the dirt out. Nothing but the finest. It's one of the silicone triple disc ones. Really good stuff here. But we got a little tranny juice all over everything. It looks like I'm about to break out the brake clean again, and we'll see if that fuel tank's sealed. We'll get to know that now, too. Get a little extra smoke. We'll know it came through. Anyway, guys, just really relieved. I have a new ECM. Well, not a new ECM, but a used ECM being shipped and ain't going to be until Saturday. I'll check it out. Keep one for a spare, of course, you know. But anyway, really kind of relieved. I've been kicking around going Wankel on this. I kind of had some, had an RX-8 kind of lined up. Had some body rot and whatnot, and I was going to gut it and throw it in and see if we get this thing running in time for the show. But as much fun as that would have been, and I still don't know that it won't happen eventually, it's not happening today. So look, guys, with great power, even with mediocre power, there's a price to pay, and looks like the price for this is a couple cans of brake clean and some rags. So I guess I'm going to get after it, guys. I got to get this cleaned up, and I'll check in with you in a bit. Hey, guys. Started routing this cooler lines last night, trying to figure out radiator lines, trying to figure out how I was going to route them. So I bolted that in, kind of support that up. I got a secondary fill port, so I make sure and get all the air out of the engine. And then I was able to get the lower line run off there. See that? And they both run down and stop right in here. So my goal is to come off of there, roll out here right under the lip. I'm going to secure it all right up here tight. And then back here we're going to roll in tight and come right up through there. Should stay forward of the tire, and I am going to put spacers on. So the goal to come right out through here with my coolant lines, and then I'll put the radiator back in place. The upper is on this side, so it'll be just I got another flexible hose. We'll run that right up to it. The lower I will have to run. I'll put a coupling and run another tube across the top of the plate over and hard line it in until we get to the rubber hose. So it's gonna be a combination of hard line and flex lines. I'll use good clamps and rough up the pipe a little bit, and hopefully we get a good seal on everything. So it'll be kind of interesting. This is kind of the layout we're going with. Kind of drew it up here, and I think it's going to work. The only thing I don't like is it called for 8-foot runs of tube. I only had 14 foot of a solid run, so I cut them both to 7, and that's going to make them stop a hair short in the rear. And it shouldn't be a big deal. I got enough hose and adapters and couplings and whatnot. It's more joints to worry about, but without dragging the trailer out, it's not really worth it. So I'm gonna give this a go. Use what I got on hand. But anyway, guys, I'll set up and I'm gonna bend a little bit. When I get one bent up, I will we'll come back and see how it fits. Thank you. Hey guys, we're testing out the new Shop Luge Off-Road Edition. It's actually pretty nice, rolls good, doesn't mind imperfections in the floor. Not that my shop would have imperfections in the floor. But anyway, guys, we got this first coolant line bent. And with the constraints of the cage and everything I'm working around, I'm actually pretty pleased. Fit in there real nice. I'm going to bend the second line, and I'm going to take 10 degrees out of the rotation. I'll show you why. And I think when I get done with that, it's going to bring the second line, well, I'll show you here in just a second, but it's going to bring that second line, the rear of it, in about 1.5 inches, and it's going to lay right over it. I think it's going to give us a nice clean look. I thought about trying to make some brackets. I hate to say this. I'm probably going to clean up that rub rail and burn them right onto the bottom of that rub rail. It's 1/4 inch. I'm using 1.5 inch 120 wall welded seam. With the weight of the rig, I don't foresee it being a big issue, but my bigger concern is coming down on a rock and rolling one of those tubes. If I rolled that, ripping the lines loose, possibly damaging the radiator, creating more headache than I can fix on the trail. So I'd rather have to deal with some damaged lines once I got back to the house than deal with massive damage out on the trail that I can't do anything about. I've got a plasma cutter. It's only permanent until I decide it's not. So anyway, I'm going to show you this. And I thought about calling this a creeper cam, but it felt kind of weird using the word creeper on film. So we should probably edit that whole thing out. We're just going to call it the shop luge. Sounds more fun and athletic. And if anyone can tell, I'm built for athleticism. So let's take a look here, guys. Here we go. You can see that runs up. We'll extend that hole out through the chassis. It is tucked back inside the wheel, and the wheel is getting 1.5 inch spacer. So I don't foresee that being a big issue. But what's really nice is this angle here. It tucks in really nice coming up, and then look at that. Rolls perfectly up inside the cage. The second one will run parallel and roll up this side of the bar. And I took some figures, and I think if I take 10 degrees out, I put 25 degrees of rotation into this one. I'm going to put 15 degrees of rotation into the next one. It will have to extend forward more, which will bring the back in, and we should still clear our bar back there. I may extend the bottom run by roughly 1 inch, and I'm going to cut down about 4 inches of overhang. So I'm going to adjust it a little bit, but I'm going to use the same template. I'll just make the adjustments up here. It's a mess up here, but I can do that. And so basically when I get done, I'll have these two tubes running parallel right down under the chassis here. And it's not ideal, but without cutting up all the body mounts and doing a bunch of stuff I'd rather not do, I think it's, given the circumstance, it's the best option. So anyway, guys, we're going to see how this goes, and hopefully we're water testing this afternoon. Here we go, guys. I work really quick. I measured out, mark it, dimple it so I can see it in the pressure block, and then you got to butter it up. I'm pretty sure that's just Hellmann's mayonnaise. I'm not sure what it's made of actually, but it's feels like mayonnaise. Anyway, you can see here I had a little difficulty getting my angle set right. I don't know why I struggled so much this time, but I got it where I wanted it finally, and here we go, and it's bent, and I knocked it out. Alright guys, so I got them lines burned in. It actually fit pretty nice. I think we got plenty of tire clearance. See how far they're tucked up in there? And of course, I'll run them down on there more. I welded a bead around each one to help clamp it. I figure if I put a clamp behind the bead and a clamp in front of the bead, it should seal and not be able to pull off. That's my biggest concern. So my wife's out picking me up hose clamps and stuff, and we should be good there. But that all tied in pretty nice. Man, it tucked up in here. I got no complaints about how tight I got them tucked. And then you come back here. I believe they'll clear the tires just fine as is, but once the 1.5 inch spacers around the rear, it's just more breathing room. So anyway, these come up, and I've just got hoses stuck on there just for effect. Anyway, I'm getting ready to bolt in the plate, and eventually I'll get some rubber and massage that down and get that sealed in there around those a little bit better. Not real worried about that today, just trying to get everything up and plumbed. So I'm going to cover this back up, bolt that panel down, and we'll have the radiator in tonight. And my wife, accountant, anyway, she really helps out a whole lot. I may not give her enough credit, but she's picking up plenty of water to test this coolant system. Antifreeze is running like $12-13 a gallon right now, if I read that right the other day. So I'd like to get all the leaks out of the way with water, and then we'll drain it. and put fresh in. Anyway, guys, that's where we're at. The new ECM came in today, so glad I didn't wait, because I would have been so disappointed if I'd have put the one I ordered in and still had the same issue. So anyway, glad I got that feedback loop closed, or whatever the heck that is. It really doesn't make sense still, because all of those leads tested out as going to ground, but they needed to be grounded together. So that's a little weird. You can ground all of those posts out separately. Nothing happens. They have to be grounded together. Well, which leads me to believe it's some kind of feedback to some kind of pulse indication coming back off the distributor would be my guess. But anyway, whatever it is, it works. So still got the vice grips on there for now. But anyway, I'll get that tied in. That's where we're at, guys. So we're going to keep rolling with it. Talk to you in a bit. Would you just look at it? I mean, just look at it. Seriously, guys. Got this all plumbed in now. I think I got most of the air out. Probably have to burp it again. Anyway, still got the vice grips on there. Nervous to take them off. They may actually be the secret to this thing running. So I'm debating whether to terminate them or just build a bracket to hold the vice grips in place. I'm not sure which way we're going to go yet. But anyway, coolant lines are tucked. Ran it long enough earlier. I don't want to say we have full confidence yet, but I do have a fire bottle on the ready. And still got a lot of wiring to deal with, but we're getting it. Coolant lines actually came out pretty nice. Thermostat's opened, radiator started to heat up. I don't have the fans wired in yet, so we were just circulating through. But if you look right here, right there, guys, a lot of people don't know what that is. That's a speed bump. So you put that speed bump in your coolant lines, and it puts just enough drag on the coolant to keep the cavitation to a minimum, and you'll gain like 7-8% horsepower. It's science. I can't really argue with it, but every coolant line I run ends up with that speed dent, and it seems to work for me. It could just be my horrible methods of rolling beads and stuff, but anyway, one way or the other, they all get dented. So we got a lot of fans. We got them all back here. I think I got all the air out. A little bit of water on the floor. Anyway, she was burping as I was filling, so she was puking a little bit out. But anyway, not pressuring up. So not a head gasket issue or nothing like that. She's not making oil. Dipstick looks the same before and after. That's always a good sign. Little bit more work to do there. Almost drivable though. You gotta have tiny hands and good grip. Even with the power steering, it's a little stiffer than I'd like. We may put the steering wheel back on, may not. We'll just see how it goes. Anyway, guys, well, let's see what happens here. Oh my! Oh, fuel pump. Anyway, really not bad. The alternator had a little bit of a squeal, like the bearing may be going out. But the engine itself sounds really good. Gotta check the timing. It's idling a bit fast. I probably don't have the vacuum lines right. But anyway, that's it, guys. That's a wrap for the night. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Have a great evening. See ya.